Hey everybody, it's February 15th, 2008. I'm Sonic Sons, and I'm here to give you a little intro to anime. So, what is anime? Well, anime is Japanese animation. At least as we use it in the English sense. Now, when the Japanese say anime, they mean just animation at all. Any sort of cartoon type thing, though be careful on that one, though. The word cartoon does imply sort of a standard, childish sort of thing. Kids watch cartoons. This is not anime. Anyway, the Japanese themselves use the word anime to refer to all sorts of animation, whereas people who don't live in Japan, or particularly people who live in English-speaking countries, use the word anime to mean animation produced in Japan. This is very much like the Spanish sombrero, which in Spanish means any sort of hat whatsoever, and in English means one of those fancy Spanish hats. So anime. I love anime. I was first introduced to anime about 4 years ago. My high school had an anime club, which was so cool. Oh, if only it had more time to have more anime club stuff. I attended it as much as they had it. If we'd had less incredible amounts of homework at my high school, maybe I would anyway. And it's weird to think, some 4 years later, approximately, that there was a time when I didn't know what it was. I was just unaware of it. And maybe you watching this video are unaware of it. What is this anime thing? Well, anime is not your DBZ, your Pokemon, your Sailor Moon, and your Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, those technically are anime. Those things are anime, but anime is not subject to just that. I found that people think anime, a Japanese thing, they might know Pokemon, for instance, came from Japan. And so that's the figure. It's this kind of, funny little cartoons with these weird little creatures here or something. Yeah. Pokemon is kids' stuff, and that's cool. Kids have a right to entertainment, but don't let that taint your thought about anime overall. The same token, Sailor Moon is like the girls' version of Power Rangers. Power Rangers, by the way, was originally a Japanese show. If you were a Power Rangers fan back in the day, it turns out that whenever they have the masks on, those are actually the Japanese actors. And they just dub in the voices later. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is another common kids fad thing involving a children's card game. The best part about that would be the Yu-Gi-Oh! The abridged series you can find online, which is technically illegal, but oh so funny. I honestly think it's ethically okay, not like I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Believe me. And Dragon Ball Z is the most testosterone-packed thing I know of. I used to watch DBZ. I watched it for maybe like a month or so. I was in on it, a few years ago. Probably more than 4 years ago that I first saw DBZ, but it wasn't until this anime club I really knew what anime was, right? Anyway, Dragon Ball Z, if you haven't heard of it, the plotline involves a bunch of people that have this power to do incredible things like flying, and they can shoot these beams of energy out of their hands, and the plot basically revolves around this. Oh yeah? And he shoots this giant fiery laser type thing out of his hands, and the guy's like, ow! Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Yeah! And it just goes on like that forever. There might be a few good DBZ things here and there. I imagine with the full wealth of, or the breadth of things they've done with that franchise, I'm sure there's a few good things. But basically, no, it's not representative of anime as a whole. Practically nothing is representative of anime as a whole. And this is what one thing you should know, is that Japanese media is just as diverse as American media. And on the surface that seems, well, yeah, you guess you could expect that, but there's, certain prejudices in there, particularly prejudice against animation. What does animation mean in America? Or possibly other countries, I'm not sure. Well, generally, that's where you find the kids shows. Winnie the Pooh, or we got, whatever random stuff. The animation reaches into the adult world only a couple of times. Things like The Simpsons, I've seen, I'm sure, a few other shows, generally sitcom style, and high in humor and such. But I can't particularly think of some American-produced like serious animation. You know, like telling an action story with animation. I can't think of anything, can you? I mean, okay, we are starting to move into 3D animation, so you might throw in, like, say, Beowulf or whatever recently came out. True. And of course, there's lines are starting to blur in the 2D world, now morphing into the 3D world, and all sorts of things. But traditionally, we're talking about stuff that, at least on the surface, looks like it was, you know, a 2D drawing and stuff. That sort of style. And in America, at least, we don't have much of a breadth for that. We have the kids' stuff, and we have, like, The Simpsons and related media. You know, and Family Guy, whatever, or, you know, one of those shows, but we don't go like everything else. You don't see like an animated romance, or an animated mystery, or an animated, no, we go live action. So you should know that it's just as diverse over there as, say, all the TV shows and movies made anywhere in America. So some of it is funny, and some of it is scary, and some of it's got action, some of it's got drama, and some of it's for kids, some of it's for adults, and some of it's, well, porn. There's another stereotype associated with anime. Now, it is true that overall the Japanese are less culturally queasy regarding sex than Americans are. And so you take the sorts of things that sometimes you'll see in anime, which they're generally more relaxed about than they are in America. Combine that with the fact that being American, I keep saying America, this could apply to Britain too for all I know, but America's what I know. But being American, you know, and we on top of that presume that the cartoon stuff is like probably the kiddie type stuff, you know, it's generally what cartoons are. So then, you know, a few things get out from the anime, and people get this wrong impression that it's all porn or something. Well, it's not. Obviously, some of it is, just like in American media, and some of it's not. A good portion of it's not. All the stuff that I watch is not. And I'll be listing a fair amount of things as we get here in a couple of minutes. Anime's diverse. Anime's different. What I love about it is just, you know, the Japanese, well, they have, you know, well, their own ideas. Their own, like, their stereotypes seem fresh to our eyes, you know, or at least when you start off watching anime. A lot of things are very new. There's, I don't know, you have to see like the style of how things are drawn first off, and the sense of 3D space you can get from two-dimensional drawings, and the seriousness sometimes, not just like hard seriousness, but just like, you know, relative depth and meaning of things. So I first really started watching anime was that 4 years ago with my anime club. But before that, so I guess really I've had a gradual thing. I marked anime club is when I really started to know what was going on here. Before that, I don't know. I'd seen, I believe it was the last episode of Tenchi Muyo. One day at like midnight or something. I saw DBZ things. That hardly counts as anime. I saw Kiki's Delivery Service. And that, I didn't even know that it was made by anybody famous, or furthermore, that it was Japanese. I never would have guessed. It doesn't take place in Japan, so not much of a hint there. But I knew that something was up.